Hello, and we're back. I hope everybody enjoyed their day. We're back, and we're going to have a discussion tonight for our Red Heart Letter. We're just going to have just kind of a discussion with few topics. And before we begin, please, if you haven't already, please like our content. If you actually like our content, please like it. Share it with your family and friends to help our podcast grow. And also subscribe. That is how we're really going to grow our podcast, because when you subscribe, it puts us also in the algorithm so other people can view our page, and it takes our podcast to the top. And we're trying to go to the top, and we want you to help us get there. And don't forget to comment right below. Your comments are important, and we'll reply to it. How you doing, Luke?
I'm blessed as ever and doing good. I'm ready to do a nice red heart letter. We have some interesting situations, or better yet, we have some interesting. Say what? I want to say theories. See if it needs hold true to help out in relationships.
All right. I am ready to get started on this.
I don't know if you could read it, but can you read it?
Put it up there again. It looked like it disappeared.
It's still up there.
Okay, so yeah, I can see it. Okay, so it says, women, if you grew up without a father, it keeps disappearing, Luke. Let me try it again. Women, if you grew up without a father, or if you've never been under strong male authority, you might struggle in a romantic relationship with a healthy masculine man who understands true protection and leadership, because you'll think that now it's cut off. I can't do the rest.
Okay, let me read it. It says, women, if you grew up without a father, or if you've never been under a strong male authority, you might struggle in a romantic relationship, a healthy masculine man who understands true protection and leadership, because you'll think that he's trying to control you.
Okay.
We was talking earlier today. Do you think that's a realistic scenario that I won't say the majority of women today, because they didn't the ones that didn't grow up with a strong masculine figure or a father figure in the home, loving the mother the way a man is supposed to. Do you think they have a tough time with these things today?
Yes, 100%. I believe that plays a big factor in it, because they didn't witness what a real relationship should look like. So if you don't, a lot of people learn, I don't know, I know myself, hands-on. I learned by actually hands-on, seeing it demonstrated in front of me, right? So if you show it to me, I'm seeing you do it, then I'm like, okay, let me jump in and try it. If you don't see it, how can you mimic it?
Well, that's true. That is true. But at the same time, do you think that most people have, well, it's almost a thing of, do you think, knowing better is doing better sometimes, though? Because if you know better in some situation, are we bluntly just crossing the lines and saying, well, I didn't have a father figure? Or do you really feel that the people, a woman would look at it today and say, well, you know what, that's the thing that's missing. I would probably be more submissive, maybe more agreeable if I had seen this in my household.
No, I actually feel like it's important to see it. So you can't expect someone to, you go into a workplace and you just tell someone, hey, this is your first day. You go to station number
Mm-hmm.
one. Well, they're just going to stand there because you're not telling them what they have. You're not showing them what they have to do. And so when you look at that, you go back to that woman's childhood. If she's seeing her mother and her aunties and everybody in a home where it's just the woman raising them, she's not seeing what a loving relationship is. She's not seeing her mother show love to a man and vice versa. She's not seeing a head in the household. You can't expect her to be an adult and just come up under a man because she's never seen it done. That's not something she's ever seen. So you're saying knowing better. There's that's not You're not going to know how to love on a man unless you see successful relationships happening. You see the father role, you see the mother role. If you don't see that,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something you're just going to automatically do.
Okay. Well, I feel like that is one of the things that are lost in having an understanding. But I think a big part of it is contributed. That's what when we were talking about last week about the podcast that you did. Was that last week or earlier this week?
That was
But
this week.
earlier this week. Yeah, that's one of the big things right there. And I do feel like that it's a missing piece. But the question, a lot of times is why is it a missing piece? Why the man is not there? And it's not always the man went to go get a pack of cigarettes and didn't come back. So that's what I was more allocating with that right there. Because a lot of times that's how they project it, like, oh, the man just got up and left and he didn't raise the children and this type of thing. But I think a lot of times today, our selection of men, and that's what we take away, is the selection of a certain man that will happen to. But at the same time, there are plenty of good fathers out here that would step up and do what they had to do in that process.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's not saying that that's not saying every man out here, yeah, like you said, oh, I'm going to run up the street, and that just never came home. That's not saying that as well, but he's probably leaving. Some of them are probably leaving for the simple fact that some of them don't know how to be in a relationship. Some of them don't know what it looks like. And so how can you mimic that if you never seen it?
Yeah, and that's true. So that's something that we have to all consider everything when we get right down to it. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Our next statement. I don't know if you could read the next statement or you want me to read it or.
Yeah, you're gonna have to read it. I should have asked you to send them to me on my end because they're too tiny on here for
Okay.
me.
Okay. Let me see if I can see it. Let me go in here and see if I can see it. Something to think about. The man or woman you choose to be your partner affects everything in your life. Your mental health, your peace of mind, your love inside of you, your happiness, how you get through tragedies, how your success, how your children will be raised, and much more. Choose wisely.
Yeah.
Do I need to read it again for you?
Yeah,
Do
that
I, do I need to read that again for you?
yeah, there's a little static on the line though. But yeah, I agree with that 100%. You can read it again just so that everybody can hear that again. Yeah.
It says, the man or woman you choose to be your partner affects everything in your life. Your mental health, your peace of mind, your love inside of you, your happiness, how you get through tragedies, your success, how your children will be raised, and much more. Choose wisely.
Yeah, that's well said.
See, that's what I'm saying. So how that plays a part in it too. That how the man that you pick or the woman that you pick to be in your life also affects all these things. So with that being said, like I said, when we did the compilation of both of the statements, then you got the women that are raised without a father that don't understand, and then take it when a man is more, like I say, a stronger man, I would say, more, more dominant, more masculinity type man. They can't understand it. But this right here is saying all the things that you would do within the confines of that relationship. How he affects you inside and outside.
Yeah, and that's
How
important to choose correctly, choose wisely. You have to choose wisely, and that's for the woman and for the man. Choose wisely because Lord forbid if you end up in a bad situation and you're just picking someone just to pick them because you want to fulfill your loneliness. Like forget your loneliness.
hold
Take
on
your
quickly.
time. Yeah, take your time and choose wisely because you never know in your future it's going to trickle down throughout the home. That could be with the kids, and again, if you have kids already because you're saying the kids, or if you're creating kids together, you have to know who you're creating those kids with. You have to actually take the time and pick the right person.
Yeah, you do. I think that's important that you get that right in that process.
Because at the end of the day, there's nothing like being in a relationship and constantly bumping heads, and it's like you don't even like each other and you're just existing in a household. That's not something that you want to end up in. So, and again, if you have to know the person, like we had the podcast earlier, take the time to get to know a person. They're going to tell on themselves. You're going to see who they are, whether that be good or bad. It's going to come out. But if you're running past red flags, then that's on you. And I can say that for myself. There's plenty of times I just said, you know what? Okay, I see that these things, I see the red flags, I see different things going on. But then I had a heart. So I thought it was a heart. I believe it was just me being stupid because my eyes were being opened in. Hey, I'm showing you who I am. Now, if you want to keep going straight past that stop sign, I'm putting the caution sign, I'm putting stop signs in front of you. Now, if you want to keep going right through that red light, that's on you. And you don't know what kind of collision you're going to have in the future. You need to stop avoiding those stop signs, stop avoiding those red flags because you get into something and that's not going to just turn off. Sometimes we have the mindset of, okay, dating, okay, she or he was a certain way while we were dating. But then you think that just because you got that paper, that person's going to change. Just because you said I do, that person was showing you who they were before you even got all into the marriage. They showed you exactly who they are. And you can't go into a
Right.
relationship thinking you can change someone. Helping someone is different. Now, if somebody has goals and okay, I think with my education or with my knowledge, I could probably help this person go a little further. That's that help me. Okay, that's different. But I'm talking about when you're seeing red flags, that person's just showing signs of he wants everybody but you, or she wants everybody but you. Okay. And a clear sign of that is if you constantly see someone on their phone, if you constantly see someone even on social media, when that's their whole life, that person, I would say run because that person that's displaying. You can't go through life without likes. That person needs constant reinforcement. They're getting it on social media. That's the person that will slide up in people's DMs. They are not that they don't have a faithful bone in their body. You need to run, okay? Because nobody should be on their phone more than they're conversating with you. Run from that stuff. They're all red flags. They're showing you that they're a cheater right there.
Yeah, that's the beginning of it. And like I said,
There's some static, Luke. I don't know where that static's coming from. What is it? It sounds like a robot.
But it ain't coming from this end. I don't have it.
Maybe turn your mic down some. It just sounds like robots, or it just sounds really horrible. Or I don't know if it's the volume on the left. I turned my volume down, but I don't know. I keep hearing it.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I don't have anything on.
But no, as I was saying, you have to pay attention to red flags. You're being shown that for a reason. Now, if you go past them, then you can't expect, years later where you're talking to people and you're just like, wow, I can't believe this. People are going to ask, well, did you notice that before? Did you see this in that person before? And you're going to have to say yes. Yes, I was showed this. Sometimes you get in situations where relationships where sometimes their own family members tell you. Sometimes I've had a situation where their family member, I was dating and I went to a family function and the family members said, hey, just letting you know, this is how the men are here, but you just got to be patient with them. Well, that's a red flag. If your family is telling me this is how the men are, that's another thing that's important. Ask questions, see how their family is, see how their father was, see how their mother was. Because sometimes, and I'm not saying people act like their family, but if the family members are acting this way, I have to kind of think, okay, this family, they all might be in a whole cluster. That's another red flag, so.
But what if they're a really good person and you really want them? What's going to happen then?
If they're a really good person, you really want them, you should not avoid the red flags. If they were a really good person, they wouldn't be having a bunch of red flags, right?
See, that's what I'm saying. But that's what makes people avoid the red flags. What makes people avoid the red flags is the fact they want the person or whoever it is. They overlook the red flags because they see what they want in that person.
See,
And
I
so,
think sometimes they avoid it because they think they can fix it. They think after they get married, people change. I don't know where we get that thought processes of after we get married, things are just happily ever after. I think that's that mindset of the Disney movies we grew up watching. We think that, okay, they fall in love and it's happily ever after. You're going to have some challenges. But if you're seeing a bunch of challenges in the beginning, run. That might not have been my advice a couple years ago, whatever, but no, run, because some things you just can't fix. It's not up to
so
you to
you
fix
don't
people.
feel that today with all the women that saying they want a man that makes six figures and having the six figures, okay, you don't think that the woman will overlook some of them flaws if he had that amount of, well, he had that and he was, well 6 feet tall. What is it? What's the little thing, the 3 6s? But at the same time, you don't
I
think the
hope it's
woman,
not 3 6s because that's devil, devil, devil right there. Sorry, no, thank you.
six figures,
No,
six
three
figures,
sixes.
six
That's the
inches,
mark of the beast. No, thank you. I don't want that guy. Mm-mm.
again, 6 figures, 6 inches, and 6 feet tall. If the person was to find that person and they really wanted that person, so you don't feel that these people will overlook the flaws, some of the flaws that I mean, some of the we call it the red lights. You don't
That's
think they?
not saying, but Luke, that's okay. So the women that you're talking about, okay, so you're talking about again, because when you talk about that, it's almost like you make all women are not
I didn't
looking
say
for
all
that.
women. I said the women that would, because there are women that being that I talk to a whole bunch. Okay, when I'll see and hear the red flags, but they proceed on. Even though they heard the red flags, even though they saw the red flags, they still proceed on. So again, I don't think I understand some cases where it's some things that you can fix, but in the effort to see certain things that are happening in there that you can't fix, but they still proceed on in those situations.
And I say don't do it. Yes, you're still gonna have people that do it anyway, and you know what? It could be that that's the only guy that's paying her some mind. Every guy is not paying every chick. There's more women than there is men. So the chances of you're gonna have some women that are overlooked, right? So it could be in that season, this is the guy who happened to give her some attention, because again, that's one of the words that a lot of us females, oh, he wasn't paying me attention. So that whole attention will get us in a world of trouble. But
Yeah.
when you are looking for that attention, it could be that that person was the one that was giving her attention at the right time,
Mm-hmm.
and she's head over heels for him, because let's face it, some of us fall, and when we do, we fall hard. We fall in love. So when she's thinking she's in love, maybe nobody was talking to her for a while. Now this guy comes along, and then she feels like she has a connection. You are gonna have women out here that, okay, they're gonna pass up on all the red flags. They're gonna be like, but I know he has this going on, but he loves me. I'm not saying that I haven't done that. I've overlooked some
Mm-hmm.
things, maybe more than I should have. But I was thinking, okay, through prayer and things like that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this person can change. I believe that people, if they were, but see, that was my thinking, that I can't want change for someone. Someone has to want change for themselves.
Exactly.
They have to want to change. So me just jumping in, diving in head first, and just hoping for the best, that's lining yourself up for failure. You have to run at every cost. I don't care what they got going on, run. Because you do not want to be with somebody who does not like you. There's nothing like being with someone who doesn't like you. Don't even love you. They're just with you because you just happen to be there in their season of wanting someone. You don't want to be somebody's, here and now. You want to be someone's forever. That's what that is.
Well, yeah, that was adequately put. Here's our last and final thought for today.
Okay.
Okay, it says, pray for him, cook for him, look good for him, stand by him, defend him, talk dirty to him, laugh with him, blow his mind in bed, help him make more money, protect his dreams, give him space to grow, nurture him, love his children, yours or not, honor his mother, be understanding, have realistic expectations of him, let him lead, accept his flaws, praise his strengths, respect him, be his friend, grow with him, enjoy life with him. True or false? Ain't no woman gonna agree with that. I know today.
Oh yeah, that's true. 100%. Everything that you just said, that's yes. That goes with, like I said, with being a wife. That's being, but you're going to get that, and that's everything. I can't speak for other women out there, but that's everything that I know that I want to give in a relationship and more. But again, when you're not lining yourself up with the right person, that's why we can go back to the other things that we read. When you're not picking the right person, and there, you don't have that connection, you're
Mm-hmm.
not equally yoked, you're not going to have that. You're not going to be able to give that, because like I said, you're going to be bumping heads in your relationship. You're going to be too busy figuring out, do we even like each other? Do we even love each, what is love anyway? Because sometimes you have that infatuation period where you guys think you're just head over heels, and that's just because it's something new. I'm like that with my shoes. I get new shoes and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow. And after a while, it ends up in my shoe container. It ends up in my cases. And until I decide to wear that same color, okay, let me pull it out. I'm on to something else. You don't want to be like that in your relationship. You don't want your relationship to be dry, because you're going to be having people move on to something else while they're in the relationship. You do have to keep your relationship spicy. You do have to,
But
come up under that. Man, you should be doing all that, the cooking, the everything that you just read. That's what she should be doing. Yeah, blow his mind in the bedroom. Why not? Because if you don't, he's going to be looking for somebody else to. But don't get me wrong, you can do all those things, Luke. But if you're not really connected with each other, and if you're not equally yoked, she can do all those things and she could still lose her man because he still could be looking for somebody else. And that is because you didn't line up right. You didn't pick the right person. And
I don't think you
sometimes
don't.
you're
I
just
don't.
picking the wrong people out here. If you're in a relationship doing all that and they're still cheating, then you know what? That's crazy. And
I
then
don't.
I have to ask myself that what man would cheat on a woman who does all those things? But hey,
Oh
it's
man, see
crazy.
that's what I was touching on. You have to also make sure the man that you're doing it for actually wants you. See,
Yeah,
that's what I just said a few minutes ago. A lot of times you will put yourself in position and you'll do these things for the man that doesn't want you to do these things for him. And then you'll say, "Well, I did it for him and it didn't work out, so now I'm not going to do it no more." That generally happens because see, you still have to
yeah,
make sure that man wants you, that you're doing it for. So that when you say evenly yoked, that's the thing that I say. It when evenly yoked means I want you as much as you want me,
yeah.
and
It
I'm
can't
gonna
be
get
one
both
sided.
parties,
It's gonna
and
fail.
both parties can tell that each other want them. So at that point, if it seems one sided and you're trying to do this to try to win him over, well, or win her over, or how well in this case the man win him over, well, you're gonna lose because it's already been decided. And so that's what
Yes,
I'm saying. So there's nothing you can do when the fight is already over. And so that's what I'm saying. So if a person have in their mind what they want and you're not it, you should know by then. But a lot of times people will go on doing those things. Everything that was said here is the success of everything here is a success of what a relationship, what a wife. This is what every man want in a wife, basically.
okay.
These are the keys to everything a man will want in a wife. And so we don't always, as men, we're not getting that. But see, this is what's supposed to happen. The woman was supposed to give this, and the man was supposed to give it back. You see what I'm saying? Meaning
Yeah,
that okay, well, this woman is giving me all of these things. I don't have. These are the things she's bringing to the table or bringing to me. Well, see, now that's going to make me, because I love her, do all the things I need to do with her. That's going to make me respect her. That's going to make me be loyal to her, make me be faithful to her, because these are the things that she's giving me. And so that's what it was designed for. See, this is what when we talk God, this is what we're talking about. This is what a wife was supposed to be to the man. And so that man would then give it back. But like I said, what we tend to do is a lot of times people want them people that don't want them and then give these things. Well, then you might lose. Because if they don't want you, no matter what you do, they're not going to want you.
that's true. You're right about that. Yeah, that's why I said you have to make sure, like we said earlier in our earlier podcast, you got to make sure you're spending time with that person. You're going to know, they're going to show you. If you see, when you begin a relationship where there's texting and, if you find yourself, they'll tell you if they want you or not. You can tell because, like you always say, Luke, ways and actions. That's going to show you. So if you're texting the person, they're not replying, but you're still giving 100% to reach out to them and all that, they're showing you already, okay, you're not a priority in their life. They're not making you a priority in the beginning. Why do you keep pursuing that? It's almost like you're chasing a person that doesn't want you. And sometimes we go into the relationship, and like I said, that infatuation stage where it's something new. And so it
Yeah.
just seems like this is love, but what we're not understanding, okay, this is that honeymoon phase. This is the beginning. It's like, okay, this is fresh. This is something that someone I haven't been with. This is and we have that, and then it turns into, the real. After a while, it's going to become real. And when you start seeing who the person really is, because it'll come out. Like I said, you have to pay attention. You have to choose wisely. And as women, and as for myself, I
Hmm.
shouldn't be. And just being old school, I think a lot of the times with women, and even with today, when you have so much where you could just put your profile on a dating site and you can just swipe left, or what, I don't know if they're swiping left or right. I don't know what they're doing. But when you're swiping and you're just swiping away, you have that whole mindset. It's like you're in a candy store and you're just picking out, okay, do I want this flavor? What do I want? Now you have that. Back in the day, you didn't have all this stuff. You had to actually meet someone in person somehow or through a friend. So now with the internet, and you have these people that are, multiple dates, you can't even really get to know one person, because people on there have a thing where, yeah, I'm talking to you, but we can't be exclusively talking. I have two more guys that I'm talking to, because I'm trying to wean out which one is. It's like a whole thing where you can't really get to know someone because they have someone else in their ear. It's not personal. But like I said, I believe, like I said, old school. I want to be found. I don't want to be looking for a man. I don't think a female, I don't want to look. That's not the way it's supposed to go. A man that finds a wife finds a good thing. So he's supposed to find, I'm not supposed to. He's supposed to find me. I'm just supposed to be here. So with that being said, I think a lot of the times that's what we're doing. We're going out here trying to find our man, and what we're finding is horrible. We're finding someone who is not aligned with God. If that's what we're looking for, you're not equally yoked. He's not a godly man. We're overlooking that, and you're just going to end up in a world of just a question mark. It's just going to be a question mark of what's going to happen. You're going to have a relationship where you're just waiting for the next thing to happen, because people are so good, and you got people out here that are finessing left and right. Women and men, they will put on a front, and soon as they feel like, oh, she's on to me or he's on to me, then they go back into their nice mode. Oh, this is me. And it's just fake. It's like fake. Be real. Be real. If that person can't be real to their self, run. And like I said, if their family members are giving you a heads up, like, hey, just letting you know, just give it some time, girl. I had to give grace because these are how these men's are. Well, if you're telling me this is how your family is, run. They're clearly telling you how they are. You can't change people. People have to want to change themselves. Sometimes you might need to ask some questions. And I know people might laugh at that. Sometimes you might need to find their ex, and you might need to ask, hey, I know people give one-sided stories of when they break up. Sometimes you need to reach out to somebody's ex and say, hey, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not walking into a burning building. Can you please tell me how your guys' relationship ended? I just want your side, because I got his or her side. I need to know yours. So sometimes you just need to ask questions.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna touch it.
Well, how do you feel? I mean, I wanted to know what you felt about that. You didn't really say, if you said, well, you did say how
I
men
did.
feel about that.
Yeah, I touched on that, but like I said, just that's it. Like I said, that's what every man look for. No, I don't get into. I know you went into all the dating stuff. The dating,
Yeah.
the
Today.
online dating allows you to, like, you're ordering your man, so you can
Yeah.
actually, you're picking out a pizza or picking out something, and
Yes.
so that's where that comes in at. So I'm looking, and I might overlook the better man because I'm looking for a good looking
You're
man or
going by looks, and you're
better
not even
looking.
reading the profile to see who is more aligned with you. That's why I said this is the
Yeah,
way of
but that's what it
online,
leads.
and
But
bring
that's
back
what
the
it
old
leads
school
to.
dating. Yeah.
But yeah, those were three interesting topics we really enjoyed discussing. I think, like I said, the last one is, like I said, if you could find that in a woman, I think if you could find that, and I mean, we both feeling the same way. We both had the same mindset. Definitely equally yoked. I think, yeah, that would be the keys to a successful relationship,
Yes.
because then
You
both
have
parties
to.
would be wanting to do the things that they were supposed to do, because the each other, because like I said, a woman is supposed to come and give that to the man, and the man is supposed to, then that's when it's reciprocated and given back to her in the same manner of what he's
Yes.
supposed to do as a man. But that's the
Yes.
whole key right there. But
It's
the trouble
important. It's
is
so
getting
important.
there.
And because for myself, just I wanted to say this real quick because, being someone who grew up in the church and having a relationship with God, the one thing going into my relationships in my life, I just wanted to know if you believe in God. That's not good enough. I didn't realize that was not good enough. Believing in God, okay, that's great. But do you have a relationship with God? Because if I have a relationship with God, and so it's going to be like a tug of war. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if he believes in God, eventually, okay, maybe again, that mindset of this person can change. You can't go into a relationship thinking you are going to change someone. They have to want to. If this person tells you, oh, I haven't been to church since I was 5 and it was an Easter, that person that doesn't sound like you have, not saying you can't have a relationship with God at home, but if you don't even pray and you don't talk to God, you don't, so we can't, if I'm on one wavelength, you're over here, it's going to clash. So then I'm going to have resentment in my relationship, and it's something that I knew. I'm going to go into that relationship like, okay, well, why isn't she going to church? Why isn't he going to church with me? Why isn't he praying with me? Well, he wasn't doing that before you. And now you think that they're just going to get in relationship and all of a sudden, hallelujah, praise the Lord. That's not going to happen. So you have to find someone that is equally yoked. It's so important because it's not, you're just going to be bumping heads. And then again, it's going to turn into resentment because you're going to be looking at this person like, they suck, but yet you knew that before you went into that marriage and that relationship. So that's important.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're going to
He
end
has
that.
to be a godly man. If that's what you're looking for, that has to be important. It can't just be, do you believe in God? There's way more to it than that.
No, you
So,
have to have a relationship with
oh
God.
yes.
Yeah, you have to have a relationship.
And that's how the foundation of the marriage should be that. Because if you don't invite God into that relationship, oh my goodness, that's going to be something. But that's important. Like I
Yeah.
said, I find myself, yeah, you could be praising the Lord and and someone else is doing the other thing, and it's like, okay, we're doing two different things, and me being that I have a relationship with God, then it hurts me. Like you said, can it hurt the children? Can jumping in relationships with people that you're not equally yoked with, could it cause issues? Yes, because knowing with my knowledge, I don't want to see my family. There's only two places you can go. So if I'm thinking, okay, I have a relationship with God and I'm thanking him for waking me up and but then I don't see that in my household. If I don't see that from the head, or if I don't see that in my relationship, that's going to make me think, okay, well, one's this way, one's that way. And how are we, if I'm saying I want to be with you till death do we part, but you know how the people are dreaming, they say for all eternity, I want to be, we all talk like that. Well, if we're doing two different things, we're going to two different places. And how that's going to cause me to stress. Because then I'm going to be like, this person's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not lining himself up with the word, but that's my fault because I picked someone who wasn't already trying to do that. You can't change a person. I could pray all day, and that's something I always do. But if that person doesn't want to have a relationship with God, you can't make them have one. That's just point blank.
No, you can't. But that's important. But that's one of the keys that you have to. I mean, for men and women, that the person does have not just know God, but have a relationship with God, a true relationship with Him. If you want to be successful, the Bible is an instruction manual on how to live a successful life, and so
Yes.
all the things have to line up. You can't just line up a few of the things; they all have to line up. I really enjoyed this show. I like the question. I like some of the statements, and
Yeah.
especially the last one. Definitely would like to. If you like with this content, we like for you to like, subscribe, and share, and definitely put the numbers up and get our algorithm going, and or that, at least put us in the algorithm. But
Yes.
do you have any
Yes,
parting words,
please.
Shay,
We're trying to
before we
grow
end
our
the show?
podcast. And when you subscribe, don't forget to click that notification because that gives you alerts when we'll be posting and when we'll be going live. So yeah, this was a good one. This was a good show.
So, you have any parting words?
Yes, I sure do. And again, as always, at Luke and Shay's place, your mental health is important. A positive mentality is a destined reality. Wear your smile. Your mental health matters. And enjoy your weekend. Until next time, thank you for joining us.